Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with H. With me, as always, is my co-host Tavi. Hi, Tavi.
Hey, Dan. We're covering a pretty basic movie today, so we're going to try to stretch out this intro.
How dare you? How dare you, quite frankly, Tavi. This is the most anticipated movie of the year for me.
I was actually anticipating it.
Okay.
But
now, what movie is that?
we're talking about Hidden Strike with Jackie Chan and John Cena. Chong Cena. Two of China's greatest megastars.
Together at last. It was only a matter of time, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But before we get to that, what's been going on? It's been a minute since we've recorded.
Yeah. We actually have not spoken to each other for a little while, which might be a good thing. But
little space from time to time is usually a good thing.
I mean, you've just come back from Japan, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been doing a few things with the podcast while you were gone.
Oh yeah.
None of which I've fully edited yet.
Okay, none of which has been discussed with me prior.
Yeah, that's right.
That's cool.
Yep.
I like surprises.
Yep. So we're basically working a mutiny behind you.
Oh yeah, okay.
So there's gonna
full
be
Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah. So there's gonna be someone who's gonna
This is
rock
bound
up
to
at
happen.
your
Bound to happen eventually.
rock up at your house. As just like
Tavi sends his regards. Skia.
So but no, I've just been holding the fort and doing some work in Melbourne. No, so nothing too special. Nothing too special as going to Japan. So how was being back in Japan?
Yeah,
it's funny, we're not talking about a Japanese movie, but
we're not talking about any Japanese movies this episode. But no, it was good. It's been like maybe 3 to 4 years since I've been back, since we moved away from there. It hasn't changed as much as I thought it would have, despite COVID. So I mean, it's good to see that they've recovered for the most part. Not as many tourists as I would have thought as well, considering borders just opened up. Yeah, I mean, it was just good to be back, despite the summer heat and humidity, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's summer at the moment, yeah. Fuck, yeah, that's the most difficult time of Japan.
Yeah.
Not only because of summer heat, but of typhoons as well.
Yes.
I remember when I was there, I walked home from a typhoon from like Akihabara to where I used to live, like in Oedo. I'm like, yeah, it's not actually that long a walk.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I wasn't used to like typhoon weather, so I'm like, it's just a bit of rain. A bit of rain never hurt anybody. And then
Next minute.
20 it wasn't actually too bad. I didn't get sick or anything, but I was like, this is a bit more brisk than I thought.
I mean, it's impossible to use an umbrella in a typhoon because of the wind, right? So your only option is just to get wet.
Yeah, I mean, I could have got a taxi, but I was too cheap to afford a taxi. So it's basically walk home in the disaster rather to save money.
Well, that's the English teaching lifestyle, isn't it? Just living through disaster after disaster because you can't afford to get yourself out of disasters.
So while you were there, did you do, vlogging stuff for this channel? Did you go to Harajuku and eat crepes? And did you do all the really like super touristy stuff? Did you go like, oh my God, kawaii and all that good stuff? Did you like go and eat all the ramen and like rate them out of 10 and like make little snippets for TikTok that keeps banning us apparently?
No, I mean, I was a tourist there, which I haven't been for a while. So we did a bit of touristy stuff. Like we went to Nintendo World for the first time at Universal Studios. That was pretty cool. But you know me, Tavi, I like to live in the moment. I don't particularly like to film stuff that I'm doing in my everyday life and turn it into content. I'm not at that level yet, you know. So while I did film some stuff, I have not even thought about editing it, and I'm not sure how good the content will be when I do edit it. So, I mean, We went to New Zealand last year and we filmed some stuff in New Zealand, and that has yet to come out. So,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
could be a while for this stuff to come out.
Yeah, it's like, to be fair to, I guess, vloggers or people that do the travel stuff, it's like, it's not that easy
It's hard
because
work, man.
you have to like constantly record, because like when I'm overseas and I'm having fun, I'm like, I'm relaxing, man. I'm not like posting this shit. Like, like we like the idea of it at the time, and then it's just like, I don't know, can't be fun.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
mean,
like,
to be constantly thinking about angles and stuff as well, when you're just like, like you said, eating a bowl of ramen. To be able to turn that kind of stuff into content, just stuff that you're doing on the day-to-day basis, it takes commitment. That you and I do not possess at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already struggling enough to do like editing and filming shit that's like, when I'm on the job, let alone like just like hanging out or being in another country and just like, have to worry about doing that. Like, I thought it would be easy. So to anyone that does do all that travel stuff, I underestimated your job. But they probably have editors that do stuff for them. So,
nah, man,
like,
they're indies as well. They all start somewhere. They're all like filming during the day, editing by night. So props, guys.
Yeah,
you're doing good stuff. Even though we don't watch it, you're probably doing good stuff.
We don't watch it, and I'm not a particular fan of doing it as well. Maybe if I enjoyed doing it.
My partner enjoys these eating vlogs, so they get an audience.
Okay. There's definitely an audience, yeah.
But enough about our laziness. Shall we do our reoccurring segment, Tavi? What have we been watching?
Yeah,
Cue the music.
Yeah, we're going to say cue the music each time. We're going to let the music play each time over us. Say cue the music. Because that is pure comedy gold. Saying that you're going to do something in a diegetic sense, but none of us can actually hear it until it's...
All this is coming out, Tavi, in the edit.
Yeah. But I guess, what did you watch? Like, I'm assuming you would have watched a few things on the plane.
You would assume wrong, Tavi. I watched one thing on the plane.
Oh, really? What did you watch?
I finally got around to watching the entire first season of Andor.
Andor.
And I know how much of a Star Wars fan you are.
Hey, look, I used to like Star Wars, all right? Like, I don't hate the brand. I just don't like recent Star Wars.
Why don't you like recent Star Wars, Tavi?
It's just boring. Like, I kind of like... I wasn't one of those guys that really hated, like, The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. Like, I remember watching those movies in the cinema.
And saying, it's too woke. I don't like this because it's too woke and it's not my Star Wars. I remember you saying that distinctly.
I didn't say that. I know what you're trying to do, man, but I didn't say that. I just said, like, these are pretty, like, fun movies. They're pretty fun, dumb fun. It's like, can leave it behind. And then, like, as Disney does with every franchise that they have, they just, like, make tons of TV series out of them that apparently start off pretty well, but then are quite, like, boring.
Sure. You're talking about The Mandalorian specifically, right?
I heard really good things about The Mandalorian, and I always said, like, I'm going to watch it, but then, like, I never do. But, I just find Star Wars generally, like, I think I've just kind of grown out of that storytelling.
Sure.
Like, I need something that's a bit more, like, I'd always like something a bit more gritty, I guess, which is supposedly what Andor is.
Yes,
but I don't
it's
know.
good, man.
Yeah.
It's like, it's an espionage thriller. And I mean, if you ever did get around to watching, I don't think you would, but it's fairly similar to like Age of Shadows in the way that the espionage is portrayed. Like,
Okay.
like there are no Jedi and no Sith in this show. Like I think we reviewed what's that Star Wars anime thing, the first season of Star Wars Visions. We reviewed that in one of our very early episodes. And our main critique was that each episode ended up boiling down to a Jedi versus a Sith. Like every episode was that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Andor, it just shows like normal citizens trying to survive in this world of imperial occupation. You know, like there are the townsfolk who are kind of happy to keep their heads down and just go about their lives. But then there are the rebels who kind of understand that their empire is not going away, and that, you know, the way things are going is eventually going to lead to hard times for everyone. There's that side. But like, even the rebels themselves, they're just people. Yeah, they're like, the show is about Cassian Andor, who you may remember from that movie Rogue One, the movie that we both fell asleep during.
Fell asleep in. And
not because the movie was
once.
bad, but because we were both severely hungover.
Both tired.
Apparently a good movie, but I wouldn't know.
That movie was all right from what I can remember.
Yeah, the bits that I was awake during were pretty good. But like you said that you didn't really like Star Wars anymore because you kind of grew out of it, and I think maybe you grew out of like the melodrama aspects of it, like the like fucking space wizards shooting lightning out of their hands, cackling buffoons, all that stuff.
I like melodrama. I guess I just was kind of sick of it in this setting. Yeah, because like a lot of the stuff I usually watch, like I tend to be more the melodramatic, especially because we watch like a lot of Korean stuff. So you have to have an appreciation for melodrama. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I think it's the slight contrarian in me, or the as the term that is now dead, the hipster. Like, it's just like, this is a bit too popular, and I was like, I just kind of got over it. Like,
and I think that's the kind of been the thing with Star Wars, is like that melodramatic aspect, like lightsabers and that flashy stuff, is kind of what drives the money, the sales, I guess. Like all the merch is based around the Jedi and Sith, basically, and all the pew pew and all the vroom vroom, Whereas Andor is way more grounded. It's way more subdued. Yeah. Like, it doesn't really have any of that. Like, there are melodramatic moments, like Stellan Skarsgård is in this, and he's got like a really good monologue at one point. Like, it's a really, really good monologue about like how he's given up everything and become a horrible person for the sake of this rebellion. Really good stuff. But like even the Imperials, like the Imperials that are portrayed in this show, it's mainly like this group of Imperial intelligence gatherers. So kind of like the CIA, I guess, for the Empire. But they're kind of like this group of like backstabbing bureaucrats, kind of like they're all trying to climb the ladder. But also a lot of them are like quite good at their job. And like they're not like, the leader of them is not like the emperor. He's not like a cackling guy. He's kind of this level-headed, like reasonable man, which kind of makes you root for them for a while until you realize that they are the Empire, and actually they are also horrible people. It's like there's this scene where an Imperial intelligence officer tortures information out of like a suspected rebel collaborator. And you don't see the torture itself. You only see like the after effects of the torture. But that performance of like the performance of the Imperial officer, like leading up to the interrogation, and then the performance of the torture victim after the interrogation is done, is so haunting. Like it really is like the second half of Age of Shadows, when the rebels have been caught and you're just seeing like they've been destroyed, like afterwards. It's like quite grim stuff, but also very, very gripping. Like, I'm so surprised that Disney greenlit this project. But I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad that people seem to like it, because it is getting a second season.
People like it. But it is getting a second season, because I heard that this season didn't do very well. But I heard good things.
I think it's kind of like been growing in popularity just due to word of mouth. I think this is like a really good example of what a creator can do if they don't really care about Star Wars lore or fan service. Like, if they just want to make a good show, they can do this with Star Wars. Like, this is what Star Wars could be.
That's a pretty interesting argument to put, because like most people would be like, if you're not a fan of Star Wars, or if you're not a fan of Marvel, you shouldn't be writing for the show. and it can go both ways. It's like you can have something like if you're not a fan of it, but you still kind of respect the I guess the license. Like you can create something good, like say Andor.
Yeah.
But then like you can have other people that will just like hate the show and then write the show in spite of the original license. Say like The Witcher, for example, that's been getting a lot of hate from writers who actually hate the original like source material and then have purposely tried to change things like to turn them away.
Yeah.
But like I think at the end of the day, it like you can do either as long as it's good. Which is
that's it. And the
subjective, but
focus
as long as
should
it's
be
good,
to make something good, not to kind of like appease fans, I guess. Like I'm not saying that fans have destroyed Star Wars, but fans have kind of destroyed Star Wars. So I mean, it's refreshing to have someone like Tony Gilroy make this show, like regardless of like how fans might react to it, and for fans to like react quite positively to it as well is very refreshing. But yeah, good stuff from Disney. What have you been watching, Darby?
Well, I've watched a lot of stuff recently. Myth is happening at the moment, and I've watched a fair few films from there. But I plan on doing another episode of that with a mate that I watched most of these movies with.
Cool.
So I won't mention them yet, but they've all been very good. Keeping in theme with Hidden Strike, I also watched another mostly Chinese production, I think. Or actually, no, it's kind of half-half. But I watched... I recently had my birthday, and we went to go watch... Out of all the movies that you would think I would choose, I went to choose The Meg 2, The Trench.
Meg 2, The Trench. Very good.
Meg 2, The
good
Trench.
Choice, Tavi. This is what your heart desires for your birthday. It's Jason Statham kicking a shark or something, whatever he does.
He kicks a shark on the nose.
A prehistoric shark.
Yes. It's like...
What do you think?
It's not a good movie per se, but like it's just really like dumb fun, you know. There are so many plot holes in this movie, but it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like it's Jason Statham being cool, and like another one of China's, I think he's one of China's top action stars, Jing.
Yep.
He's kind of replacing the Chinese lead in the first one, which is I think it's Li Bingbing. She was in the first one.
Is it Fan Bingbing?
Fan Bingbing, yeah. Her character dies off screen, like in between movies.
Harsh.
Like, I feel like it's I don't want to come back and do another one.
Well, I don't think I don't think she's in favor with the Chinese government right now. So
that's right.
Due to tax
we're talking
stuff.
about that. Yeah, so she's just.
So maybe
she's
it was
dead.
like just a little bit of the production side, just stepping in there and saying, actually, can we make it so that her character is absolutely dead? Even though it's entirely unnecessary, let's kill her off screen.
Yeah, it's true. Like
let's kill her daughter as well, actually.
Because I like there was there was a bit of a kerfuffle when we got into the theater because it was actually quite packed.
Oh yeah.
Because we bought the tickets online and like I secured 5 tickets and like because driving into the city is always like a fucking pain in the ass. It doesn't matter how early you leave these days. It's like you're just gonna be late. So I had to meet a group of friends earlier to get the seats, and then 3 of us were there and we were waiting for 2. But there was like apparently this big group of like Chinese people that say, oh, they booked like 9 and they had this row, and then people like moved into our seats, and then like I'm like, wait a minute, like this is like we this is our seats here, and they're like, oh no, but this is G, and it like wasn't, and then like I could see where their seats were, but I was just like, oh. There's a point where you just can't be bothered. The movie's already started.
Yeah.
And then and as this was happening, I could see like the picture of like Li Bingbing on screen, which is like the character's birth age to 2021. I'm like, I guess she's dead. Like, there's not even I didn't even hear the explanation, but it's like, yeah, probably some kind of disease or whatever. She's just died off screen.
Okay. So nothing to do with Megs. She's just been killed.
Just dead. Yeah.
She's been killed for not paying her taxes.
So it wasn't that actress, wasn't it? It was. I think you might be thinking of the X-Men.
Is this not the same actress?
One that was. No, Dan, you racist bastard.
Okay.
It's X-Men. It was X-Men. Which was the one like Days of Future Past? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, I am thinking of Fan Bingbing. Yeah, you're right. They look very similar. I'm not racist. They got the same name, Tommy.
Oh man, this guy.
But anyway,
racist.
She got replaced by Wu Jing, right?
Yeah. So he was like, yeah, he's like his English is competent enough, but it's also like quite awkward.
Okay.
Like the chemistry. This is where we're going to be talking about chemistry a bit in this episode, but the chemistry between him and Jason Statham is very awkward,
right.
But it's like pretty entertaining to watch because there's like a lot of lines that like you can really picture like a really like that kind of cool white Hollywood actor say with quite a bit of gusto, but then when he says it, it's not quite convincing, but it's also like quite funny as well. I mean, like. The first act of the movie is okay. It's like they had to go back to the trench or some shit's happening. I don't remember. But like, Megs come and attack them and they have to walk along the floor and they get picked off one by one. But I think it's the second half of the movie where I think it embraces more of its silliness. Did you watch the Meg 1 by any chance?
Yes, I've seen the Meg 1.
Yeah. So it's got like characters from that movie that I didn't even remember, but they come back in the second one. So it's got DJ. He's like the black guy, and he's like even more of a black guy in this movie. He like literally says like "damn."
That's a big ass shark.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. He's actually really funny in that movie, and he delivers the best soundtrack song for a movie this year or ever. Yeah. So if you go on YouTube and you type in Chomp, I think it's by Paige Kennedy is the actor's name. It's like the direction for the song is you're gonna write a song about a shark and that's it. So it's like there's so many like shark puns in this hip hop song. It's really funny. And then there's a point where it's just like I think he just couldn't think of any more verses. So he just like keeps doing like the rap chorus over and over again. And like it's a really funny song. And then we were talking about like another shark movie, Deep Blue Sea, ages ago, where Al Cool J did the song for that. Yeah. And there's so many shark puns.
There are. Like, you gotta do it. If you're gonna write a song about a shark for a shark movie, you gotta put in shark puns.
There's so
what's that line?
Puns.
My hat is like a shark.
My hat is like a shark fin. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember bits and pieces of it.
He's like deepest blue. My hat is like a shark's fin, and he's like super tank, and he's just like in the ocean. Yeah, that MV is alright because it was in the 90s, so they couldn't they had to put quite a bit of budget for the MVs back in the day because they weren't just going to be for free on YouTube. They would be on like shows and stuff. But yeah, like it's I mean, yeah, if the Meg 2, these movies, they're not good, but they're kind of like a guilty pleasure. It's funny because I don't particularly like shark movies that much. Like I don't like the Sharknado series. And I don't really watch a lot of bargain bin shark movies because that's kind of a beaten down genre. But like, yeah, there's something about this one that, I enjoyed the Meg 2. And I like the director, Ben Wheatley.
I think it's Statham.
I like Statham as well. Yeah, he's like surprisingly committed, I think. Yeah, he pulls it off. There's a couple of like really like very cool Hollywood angles where he's like on a jet ski, like on top of the wave and like holding like this explosive spear
Like
that
harpoon,
would
yeah,
just
okay.
not make it would just not make any sense because it's like there's no trigger, but that's okay. And there's just like things that just happen, and there's like the very stereotypical billionaire character who's evil, and then there's the betrayer person, and then there's just like it's just like. It's very by the numbers,
So,
but it's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. And
My
it's just
complaint about
yeah.
the Meg 1, at the time I saw it, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it wasn't really over the top enough for my liking.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think
yeah.
maybe it's because of the PG rating as well, but like the deaths were not like gruesome enough maybe, and there maybe just wasn't enough of them. Did they remedy that in the sequel?
It's more over the top, but the gruesomeness is not there as well because it does have a PG-13 rating. I think the director wanted it because there's definitely like there's another like typical the sharks storm the beach scene. That's in the trailer, and more people die in this one. But yeah, it's not like. Yeah, that's a criticism for mine in this one. It's like the deaths, like if you're comparing it to like Deep Blue Sea, like you're seeing like people getting ripped in half and stuff. But this one is just kind of like bloodless violence a bit, yeah. Because this director, he's like kind of done more art house horror stuff. Like I really liked his movie. It's Ben Wheatley. He did like A Field in England, which is like a fucking weird ass trip movie, and did another like British like assassin horror movie called Kill List, which has a pretty like fucked up ending as well. So it's quite interesting that he just went on to do the Meg 2. I guess his movies aren't very successful, so he needed to make that Chinese money, you know. And I think like because it is a majority Chinese production, this movie is never going to be particularly gruesome because I think the censorship is quite heavy there. So they probably would have told him to tone it down, which is a shame because I think this movie lacked, I dare say, a bit of bite to the violence.
It's like a shark fin.
It's like a shark fin. Yeah, no, the song, man, this is a song, it's called Chomp.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, Chomp.
I found it. I bookmarked it now, so I'm going to listen to it after.
And he's like, I'm an apex predator. Chomp. And then I was just like, oh yeah. We went to like the seafood hot pot place after.
Oh no.
And then like the waiter let us play our own music because we had this private room and we were just like listening to Chomp while like eating fish. Yeah, but I think we spent 30 minutes like rambling on about other movies. So we should probably start talking about Hidden Strike.
All right, Hidden Strike. So we're going to talk about this movie, full spoilers, because who gives a shit about this movie?
Yeah, that's very true.
It's on Netflix if you want to watch it. Nothing that we say during the course of this episode, if you are interested in watching this movie, will detract from your interest in watching this movie, I think. But no,
I think
it's up there
if you're watching this movie and you are genuinely surprised by the plot, then you probably need to watch more movies.
I think if you're interested in watching this movie, then you're gonna be watching this movie regardless of what anybody says.
Yeah. Well, it was number 10, wasn't it?
It was top 10 in Australia, on Netflix.
Yeah.
So
I think it's still top 10.
People are watching it.
The brief plot. Yeah, like what Jackie Chan plays Commander Gao, who has to escort like a group of Chinese nationals and some foreigners, like from this like oil plant place.
At least one scientist is there.
Yeah, because they're being attacked by rebels constantly. Is what I remember. And like John Cena or Chong Cena, is he's playing Chris, is the guy who runs like this like an orphanage. And he needs like money to like pay for water because they're going to cut the water off. But he's like got a past with his family as like a heist guy. Like I'm not sure if it was ever clear that he was like in the military. I think there was a point where because he does tell Jackie Chan. I'm just going to call them Jackie Chan and John Cena because they're not.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Because he does tell Jackie Chan, but I think my mind was just like somewhere else.
So I think his whole family has like the history of being mercenaries of some kind.
Yeah.
So
right.
I guess you assume they have a military background because they know what they're doing. They're pretty competent.
Yeah.
John Cena is a big man that can fight real good. And yeah, I mean, Jackie Chan is also playing like the leader of a private security contractor. So just assume everybody that's not a scientist is a military person.
Yeah.
Or an orphan.
This movie has been received horribly online. It's got like 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, whatever. Even though it's funny because I still use Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm also like hate how Rotten Tomatoes works. But like that's
sure.
Not
Do you use Rotten Tomatoes? But it's not going to dissuade you or convince you to watch a movie, right? Like you take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. It depends on the movie. If there's a particular like director that I like for example, there was a movie that I watched at MIF that had a horrible Rotten Tomatoes rating, but I found it to be very excellent. So yeah, I would definitely have my biases because I'm not here I am on a podcast reviewing movies, but I'm not a professional film critic. I think like that job is like there's difference between like filmmakers and film critics, I guess.
Sure.
But without getting into that spiel, this movie was not very well received. I didn't particularly like it, but I didn't hate it either. I don't think it's a horrible film. Sure, there's some pretty bad CGI in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is like the Jackie Chan just getting older. I mean, kudos to him still doing probably some of his own stunts.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just the energy is not there because it does play like a Jackie Chan comedy film maybe after the first like 30 minutes because like the tone of it is quite serious.
At the
you
start
have John Cena. Yeah. John Cena's trying to put humor. Yeah. Actually, I want to talk about that scene because like, yeah. But like John Cena has a lot of really like awkward humor in this movie that doesn't really land.
Yeah. He's kind of like Ryan Reynoldsing it a little bit. Like just kind of one-liners here and there.
It's like it's a very like American style of comedy. But the thing is, this is a Chinese production. So I think it's like maybe what Chinese think American humor is like, but like not really having the cultural understanding of how to make it work properly.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like, because there's a bit where he's meeting his brothers like goons and he's trying to give them nicknames. And I'm like, so this is the comedy? I think the movie picks up when Jackie Chan and John Cena actually finally meet because their chemistry is awful. But as I was saying with like Jason Statham and Jing, like the awkwardness kind of made it entertaining for me to watch because I'm kind of seeing like Jackie Chan trying to Jackie Chan, but like the energy is just not there. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I think Jackie Chan's comedic side is still on point. I think like he's still doing all the Jackie Chan things. And like I think he, along with John Cena, like the two of them individually are quite good, like at the comedic stuff. Yeah. Together, they're bad, but in a good way. Yeah. I mean, their banter and their relationship and kind of the vibe of a lot of this movie kind of reminded me of like old Jackie Chan movies, like 2000s era maybe Jackie Chan movies, where they have like the odd buddy cop situation going on.
Yeah.
Like it's not as good a chemistry as like Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson, or Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. But I mean,
Jackie Chan and who else has he teamed up with?
I don't know, the guy from Tuxedo. Oh no, that's Jennifer Love Hewitt. Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's probably better than that chemistry, I reckon. So I mean, it's like it gave me kind of nostalgic vibes. Like this movie is objectively bad. But I liked almost everything about it. Like recently we reviewed Joyride, right? And I think we both thought that it was pretty bad. But at the same time, we agreed that it just wasn't made for us.
Yeah.
This movie is also bad, and I'm sure not many people are going to like it, but this movie was definitely made for me.
For like, I thought you'd like this movie.
Like
Because,
even
yeah,
the first 30 minutes, which admittedly is kind of boring and dull because it doesn't have as much John Cena in it. Like it doesn't have the chemistry between Jackie Chan and John Cena yet because they haven't met. Like the setup of it is kind of got this like Paul W.S. Anderson aesthetic. You know what I mean? Where it's kind of like
I definitely know what you mean.
oversaturated desert. And like cool people looking cool with guns and military gear. And loading up for a convoy of some kind. So like I even enjoyed that aspect of it. And that kind of carries through for the rest of the movie, even though the focus is kind of taken away by the banter between Jackie Chan and John Cena. Like I liked the action for the most part. Like you said, Jackie Chan's old now, so like there is a lot more cutting away. The stunts that are performed are not as impressive as when he was a younger bloke. But he's still jumping around. He's still doing a bit of parkour. He's still doing that thing where like he's kind of like doesn't want to fight, but he is fighting.
That's very. He doesn't like visibly kill anyone in this.
He doesn't
movie,
use a gun, I think, or he uses a gun once to get John Cena's attention, maybe.
Yeah, but he never kills anyone. John Cena kills people.
John Cena is killing people left and right. Yeah, but he's the American, He's allowed to do that.
Yeah, he's the American. Yeah. It's funny because like. They set up the team. There's like Jackie Chan has a team, as you said, of like the Paul W.S. Anderson, like cool looking like military people. And like I noticed that in like a lot of like Chinese productions, there's always like at least one or two like really hot like Chinese girls, and one of them is gonna have like their own action sequence. So there's like a girl in the Chinese team, like she'll have her own action scene, and then we're never gonna see any of the others again. Which exactly happens. She like fights one of the mercenaries, and that's actually a pretty like alright scene.
Yeah, it's a cool. It's a cool fight
shot
scene.
awkwardly, but the physicality was cool.
I
thought as she like gets knocked out of and I thought she was gonna get like hit by the by the bus, but this is not an R-rated film, so she like ducks and like avoids it. But then you never see her again. Because I thought like, because there's basically the counterpart, it's her, and there's an American one, which John Cena calls Tomb Raider. And they usually will have like a girl versus girl in these like movies. So
in most movies, like even in today's action climate, it's usually the bad girl and the good girl will have a fight with each other at some point.
Yeah, but then it's just like when like John Cena's brother gets betrayed, she just gets shot. I was like, that was really sudden.
Because the Chinese girl fights like a dude, right? She fights.
She fights a dude, like this belly dude.
Is it the skull face guy?
I think it's one of the skull face guys, actually. Okay. Not the Cyclops, the Nox. He's like, my name is Nox. Yeah. That's like kind of like, again, like forced humor.
That joke just kept going and going.
Yeah. I feel like, and this is really evident when you watch the post-credits sequence. I think the movie suffers from a lack of direction, especially when like, because John Cena is a funny guy. And I think he's pretty good at what he does. Like you can get him to like do some pretty comedic roles or some funny stuff, and he can do it well.
He's got a buttload of charisma and big muscles too.
Yeah, because in the post-credits scene, you see him like doing a lot of improv, but the improv never gets a laugh in the post-credits. It's just awkward. It's like if you watch the post-credits scene of this movie, it is the most awkward Jackie Chan post-credits sequence I've ever seen, because it's just John Cena who is trying his best to be funny, but he doesn't have humor written out for him. Or he maybe it's just a lack of direction, because like his character is supposed to be like kind of noble, but then he's making like references to like, I love me some booty and ass and like titties and shit, and it's just like
there's a point in this movie where he's like just straight up objectifies Jackie Chan's daughter, like right to his face.
And it's just like it's so like out of place.
Yeah.
Like it's just like yeah.
Meanwhile,
it's
he's like trying to raise all these orphans by himself or whatever. Like, okay, really?
Yeah. And then like there's a scene like just before that scene where like they're like singing Old MacDonald, and then him and Jackie Chan are doing like these like this kind of dance.
Oh yeah,
or
that was bad.
Yeah. It's really cringe.
It's a bad scene that should have been on the cutting room floor properly.
Yeah, I feel this. I don't know. I feel like this movie is just like I'm not even sure if this was like studio interference either. I think it's just like we have a script that's just finished. It feels like I'm watching a first draft of a script, but it's like let's just make it.
Well, I mean that's kind of like what Jackie Chan movies were back in the day a lot of the time, right? Like you look at Rush Hour, right? And there's a fucking like 7-minute scene where they're talking about war, the song War, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's probably a lot of improv there. And it's kind of like Jackie Chan's doing his thing and Chris Tucker's doing his thing, but it works because they kind of bounce off each other, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this Old MacDonald scene is kind of it doesn't work because they're not bouncing off each other. They're kind of just doing their own individual things, and I feel like John Cena is a bit like neutered as well in this movie, because like a lot of John Cena's humor in like his other works is quite crude, I would say. Like you look at things like Peacemaker. And he's like, talking about how Superman likes to take it up the arse and shit, and it's funny for the most part. But like he can't really do that in this movie. So I feel like that takes away a lot of his comedic potential.
Because the movie's tone, like it's a bit inconsistent. Because like I think the way the movie looks as well, it looks like one of those really edgy Paul W.S. Anderson movies. But then there's like the humor in it. It kind of feels a little bit out of place, even though Jackie Chan and John Cena are there. Yeah, but I think like there's been a kind of a resurgence of like an appreciation for Rush Hour, and this might be like a controversial take, but I think
because Brett Ratner is terrible rat.
Yeah,
person.
Brett Ratner is a terrible person. Brett Ratner aside, just talking about the context of like Rush Hour with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker both being like minorities in the film, you know, Chris Tucker, he has a lot of racist banter with Jackie Chan, and Jackie Chan doesn't really have it either. But I think it kind of there's like a healthy racism to it because it's not really done out of hatred. It is just done due to a misunderstanding of like each other's culture.
Sure.
And I think at the end of Rush Hour, there's like an understanding that they come together, and that they're both like, you know, they're both like pinned down.
Yeah. They're both brothers from another mother. You know, that's the relationship they strike.
I think like Rush Hour is not a particularly deep film, but when you compare it to like Hidden Strike, there's actually quite a few layers that you can think about, you know, when it comes to like race identity and just like being discriminated. Like, you know, Chris Tucker, who is like trying to be taken serious as a cop, but he's not.
Yeah.
And like just the misunderstanding of him to Jackie Chan. Yeah, it's and I think that kind of like maybe like a healthy racism kind of works because it's just like you can understand each other. Whereas this one, like John Cena is fucking he's Chong Cena, man. He speaks Chinese, and there's no like I guess there's no commentary.
There's no
between
culture
each other.
clash in this movie.
Yeah. It's just like Jackie Chan is Jackie Chan and John Cena is John Cena, and it's just like, and they're a completely different like country. So I guess it's like there is kind of, but not really, because they're both like, I mean, East Asians and white people are like some of the richest races when it comes to
sure.
you know that kind of thing. So it's just like, yeah, they're not really the minority in that sense. So it's, I don't know, like,
yeah, I mean, I think the closest they come to like any kind of culture clash is like when John Cena incorrectly imitates a monkey, and then Jackie Chan is like, "That's not a monkey. This is how you do a monkey." And it's like, there's a couple of bits where it's like the hand signal thing as well. Like John Cena not being able to understand Jackie Chan's like Chinese hand signals. Like that, I guess that's a thing, but it's very.
Is that a thing? I don't think that. I think that's just.
No,
I think
that's a thing. Like I remember, because you know how we used to. This is a tangent, but we used to play this dice game at karaoke, right? Liar's dice. And Liar's I remember first learning like the hand signal for 6, and I'm like, how is that 6? Yeah. And then they're like, oh, it's a Chinese way of doing 6. I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? Yeah. So like, I thought maybe that was a thing, but it's very subtle because it's kind of like it's such a Chinese thing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe there's a lot of subtleties in this that I didn't realize.
Maybe for a Chinese audience, but for you and I, maybe not so.
Yeah, we just need. I think you and I, we just need more overt racism, like eating camel's hump,
speaking gibberish and saying that it's Mandarin.
Yeah, but that was actually pretty funny in the post credits when like Jackie Chan kept fucking up his line to the Chinese doctor lady. It's. Like, I didn't like this movie, but I did enjoy it. But there was just some, like... I was talking about plot holes in the Meg 2. But, like, none of the plot holes in the Meg 2 are really, like, against the character. The plot holes in that movie is, I need something to happen, so here's this MacGuffin. Like, ooh, here are explosives suddenly. Ooh, here are some spears. And, like... Yeah, and like, why wouldn't you just kill the guy like when you had the chance? Like that's just gonna happen. Mm-hmm. But like, there are a couple of plot holes in this one where it's just like, it just goes against like the character because like, I mean, talking about the death of John Cena's brother in this movie, like, John Cena is someone who is like, he's kind of honorable, but he also like likes his family and feels guilt for his family.
Yeah,
but then like. There's a bit where like John Cena realizes he's kind of been duped by another like super extremely mid villain guy.
Euron Greyjoy from Game of Thrones. Yes.
Oh, is that? Yeah, I didn't even know that. Yeah, I just thought it was the guy from Dawson's Creek. I forgot his name.
Joshua Jackson. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, I thought it was just like, oh, Joshua Jackson.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. But like, yeah, he reveals his mega plan, which I'm like. I don't fully remember, but like John Cena's brother like asks him to stay and help, but John Cena's like nah, and then like his brother tries to play the you're abandoning your family again, and then it's like John Cena's still just like
abandons him.
Give me my money. He just abandons him, and then immediately after he leaves, that's when like he gets killed. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, did you?
Well, he told him to get out. He told him to leave with him.
Yeah, but he's not gonna leave. Like, he's just like he just left him behind. Like. Yeah. And then, like, when his brother dies, yeah, he's sad about it, but he's not really that torn up. And it's just kind of like, wow, did they just write themselves into a corner where it's just like, we just need something to happen.
And he doesn't really mention his brother again or any guilt he feels about getting his brother killed. He mentioned his dad a couple of times and his guilt about getting his dad killed a long time ago, but not his brother who died fairly recently.
It was really like character assassination, and I think I had like kind of lost my somewhat investment at that point. It kind of came back a bit when like Jackie Chan and John Cena were doing like odd banter with each other, but it was just like, I don't know, it's like that kind of pothole. It's too much. Where it's just like. That's kind of like lazy writing, I think. Yeah, that's where it needed more time in the cooker.
Yeah, like, it didn't have much. Like the scenes moved pretty quickly, so I think like John Cena discovers his brother's corpse, and then Jackie Chan arrives on the scene, and they have a little fight, which is not bad actually. I didn't mind a lot of the action in this. I feel like probably
the French people come.
Yeah, I feel like probably the latter half of the film was a bit of a letdown. Like. The climax of this film involves Jackie Chan having like a bubble bungee fight with the
I think they try to like mimic the classic Jackie Chan last fight with like, you know how there's in Gorgeous how there's like he fights Steve, is it Steve Allen?
Brad Allen,
the martial artist, Brad Allen, yeah, rest in peace. And it's like kind of like this serious looking guy, but it comes quite goofy.
Yeah.
I think he does that quite a bit. And even in Who Am I, when he fights those two guys, they seem like quite like gangster, but then actually gets kind of silly.
Yeah, even in Legend of Drunken Master, it happens in a lot of Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah.
Like it's a Jackie Chan thing. So I understand what they were trying to do, but there were just too many bubbles, mate. Like I couldn't see what was happening because they were just covered in bubbles the whole time.
Yeah. It's not really a great stage fight scene. Yeah. Like, there's another, like, not really a pothole, but there's, like, you know the bit where, like, when, like, John Cena's running after, is the guy's name Wallace or something?
Euron Greyjoy.
The evil guy? Yeah. I don't remember.
Just call him Euron. It's fine.
Euron. So he's running after Euron, and then he, like, gets tired, and then, like, they like leave. There's only like one road that like leads out of that like gas refinery, and then like Jackie Chan's daughter just drives past Euron and to get John Cena. And I was wondering, like, did those guys just like not like pay attention to like, because she literally like you see her, she just drives past them like in the distance to go like collect John Cena, and they know that that's his car as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, they're just like, oh. I'm sure it's fine.
They were in a hurry, Tommy. Maybe they didn't see.
The guy's got a fucking Gatling gun and he's just heading towards them from one row, probably from a distance. And it's just like, yeah, like as if like they wouldn't have shot her. I don't mind potholes like this one as much in these action movies because it's kind of like, yeah, they're just gonna go get to the action. It's not as big a deal as like John Cena abandoning his brother, but still, I think at this point it's like, when a movie kind of sucks, you can really like pick out more of them, and it kind of grates on you a bit. Yeah, I don't know. There's like, I was just like, man, yeah.
I mean, that's probably just writing themselves into a corner. Like they needed Jackie Chan's daughter to get there, but they've written that there's only one road leading through this place. So like, how is she gonna
maybe the guy was gonna like actually shoot her, but then he felt like the Chinese like theme song plays. Like, oh, I can't kill hot Chinese girl in Chinese production. I'll lose my job. So like he just kept trying to
lose all this.
I can lose all of this. Yeah. So that's probably they've got like I guess in Chinese films like they've got like hot Chinese girls have like the equivalent of like plot armor, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's just like let's
Pretty
let's
much.
just leave them.
That's about all they have as well in these movies. It's not much character development going on.
Not even the hot Chinese girl. Like, I don't think any Chinese person gets killed on screen except when, like, they're in that French area. Jackie Chan discovers, like, some Chinese guy that's been killed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, who's this guy? Jackie Chan's like, you killed my people. But, like, I have no idea who they killed. It's just like some guy.
There's a bunch of them on his team that just disappear from the movie. They just get to the green zone and they're like, yeah, we're here. And like, the movie carries on without him.
I feel like I would have liked to have seen an integration of a team a bit more. Because, like, I feel like that stuff is kind of fun. But they kind of just like, after the girl has her fight, and then there's only one guy who's like lobbing like M4 grenades at a vehicle at like John Cena's crew, and then after that they're like his helicopter gets shot down, but you don't see him die. You just assume he like did some like wuxia shit and just like flew out of the helicopter and like tripwired himself down. But like even the Chinese citizens that are killed on screen, they're like hostages and they're covered with masks, so like you don't actually see. Like, it probably was just a white guy that they put the hoods over, and then they just
I mean, it's not a particularly violent movie.
Nah, it's not violent. I didn't expect it either.
Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, it's like kind of just like a Jackie Chan film, I guess. Without a lot of the charm of the older stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not that much to say other than that, to be honest.
Yeah. It's not really a deep movie.
I think John Cena's good though, and I think Jackie Chan still has some of it left. Like it's better than The Foreigner. I'll say that
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah, The Foreigner, yeah, that's a pretty forgettable
It's just way
film.
too serious, that movie.
Yeah, I feel like The Foreigner, yeah, it doesn't. I feel like there was a chance for, because Jackie Chan can do serious stuff, like Shinjuku Incident that we saw ages ago.
Yeah.
Like that's not a Jackie Chan movie.
No.
He doesn't have any fight scenes like the typical Jackie Chan fight scenes. So he can do it. I think The Foreigner could have tried to embrace that a bit more, but I think like whoever was directing it was still like, I need to do the Jackie Chan thing rather than do something completely new. So I think that's why that movie failed.
It's also really boring. It's a real boring film.
Yeah. We watched it in Japan, yeah, and like I fell asleep because I don't remember anything from that movie, really.
Yeah.
I remember Jackie Chan does a couple of flips and Pierce Brosnan is a bad Irish guy.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I don't really know the plot.
Yeah, I mean, his daughter
movie.
gets killed and, he goes on a revenge
Yeah,
spree.
yeah, that's it, yeah.
So he does emote a bit in the film. Dude can act.
Yeah, he can act, yeah.
But
he can sing.
Yeah, he can. I think he's good in serious roles like Shinjuku Incident. But I mean, if like he can't do the Jackie Chan thing forever, I guess. So if he does want to transition into more serious stuff, then like I think he could do it. But I don't know. Like he doesn't need to. He's got a lot of money. He could probably just
feel like
retire.
I feel like he kind of wants. I think he probably kind of misses his glory days a little bit because as you get older, that's just something that you naturally do. So I mean, like some people would be like, "Yeah, I'm done with action movies." Some people aren't. Some people get into them as they get older, aka Liam Neeson. That's all he does now. It's just a Liam Neeson movie. It's not even an action movie. It's a Liam Neeson action movie
I think
where he does.
Yeah, I think
a lot
The
of
Foreigner
slapping.
was Jackie Chan's attempt at like old man action, like dad's action. It just wasn't like engaging enough. I think a little bit grim too. But like, do you think Jackie Chan would fit in the cast of The Expendables, for example?
Yeah, speaking of which, the director of this movie is doing The Expendables
Yeah,
4.
there's the link. So, like, do you think there's a place for Jackie Chan in that team, along with Statham and Stallone?
I actually do think so, because that team is supposed to be varied. She wouldn't do anything particularly violent. That would be like for the case of everyone else in that film to do. Yeah, he's not in it, like not from what I can see in here, unless like there's a sudden cameo that is kind of cool. But like, I don't know. I don't see him in this class list that I'm looking up on Wikipedia. I see Iko Uwais is in there. He's playing the antagonist. Right. That will be interesting. I feel like Jackie Chan needs like a director like the guy that did like Nobody or one of the John Wick guys and just change his image. Maybe like just try to change his image to be like not as like I don't want to hurt anyone to like that fucking like I'm just gonna kill you, motherfucker, and see how that works.
Actually, I do want to hurt people. I do.
Yeah, maybe it might not work. Who knows? But like at least it's something like different to see. Yeah. Have you seen Nobody?
I have seen Nobody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sick. I really like that movie.
Yeah, it's
I really like that movie. Especially the second time I watched it, I was just like, wow, this is actually very entertaining. Like this is like it's very dad action.
Yeah.
I do enjoy dad action. I like the dad grit.
You're gonna watch the Threequalizer?
The Threequalizer. I might. Maybe when it's on the stream. I've never watched any of those movies in the cinema, but yeah, maybe when it's on stream, I'll give it a watch. Yeah, that series is pretty okay as well. I mean,
that's kind of like the bar for dad action is just okay. Just give people that little bit of catharsis of like dads beating up people that have wronged them. Yeah, really get that target audience in.
Yeah.
But no, Hidden Strike, average to bad movie, but
yeah,
I liked it. I think it's fine.
I mean, what else can we say about this movie?
Do you think if this was an American production, it would have been better?
I think this might be the one case where it might be. I mean, it is a Chinese American production, but if you look at like the the credits list, it's mostly like Chinese. So I feel like even though I've given a lot of shit to like quippy humor, like in Marvel and stuff like that, but like I feel like Americans understand that humor a bit more, whereas like they tried to do quippy humor in this movie, and it just like it didn't really work properly. I think quippy humor can work when it's spaced out properly and it's not like forced in, and I think that's what's happened a lot recently with a lot of like more modern releases. I think they're trying to shift that now because I think audiences are kind of getting a bit pissed off about them. But like, yeah, I just found a lot of the humor in this movie just like inconsistent. Like, I feel like the movie's tone wasn't light enough for it to work, and there was no like, because everyone's just trying to be cool in this movie, so there's no like real throwaway like kind of gag character that I think maybe American humor can touch on the right movie.
Yeah.
So I think so, yeah. So maybe the Expendables 4 or the 4 Spendables will probably be all right because it's a more American production. But I mean, if you think of the 3 Spendables,
No,
like
it
that
wasn't very
movie
good, was
sucked
it?
hard. Like it's one of the worst movies. I think that's one of the worst. I want to say that's one of the biggest disappointments of a movie I've ever seen.
Got
was the
Wesley
3
Snipes in there.
Expendables.
You got
Yeah.
Mel Gibson playing a bad guy in there, and yeah, very disappointing outcome.
Yeah. It's so disappointing. Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's so bad.
I think
Well,
maybe,
yeah.
and if it was an American production, I feel like John Cena would have been a bit ruder in this, which I'm not sure would work with Jackie Chan, because I don't think that's Jackie Chan's vibe. I don't think he does like really rude stuff. That said, he has been alongside Chris Tucker, who can be, I don't know, because I was gonna say John Cena might not be silly enough either, but he is silly. He's a silly man, so I don't know though.
John Cena's a pretty silly guy.
I don't know if they're a good pair though. I'm not convinced.
I mean, he's Mr. Bing Chillin himself, man.
Yeah, Bing
It's
Chillin
weird.
himself.
It's like Jackie Chan and John Cena. If you look at that like together on like without watching a trailer or any context, you'd be like, oh, that's something I would watch. Like I think I heard about this movie, Hidden Strike, and I was like, oh, okay, that might work. Like John Cena and Jackie Chan, like John Cena's kind of like a newer Hollywood face. I think because I know people that have like worked with John Cena, and they say that he's like a really like nice guy on set, and like he's like quite professional as well.
Okay.
So maybe it's like, oh, this is something that maybe like Jackie Chan can work with, and then maybe I don't know. Because I don't think he's bad in this movie. I think it's just a lack of direction. Like, I think John Cena's trying his best, but he doesn't have a character. He's just John Cena, like trying to be John Cena, but with like not much direction. Maybe.
And
I don't know.
I just feel like the relationship between them is not organic enough. I feel like, I mean, we've been comparing it to Rush Hour. In Rush Hour, you can like. Jackie Chan had a genuine frustration with working with Chris Tucker. Like Chris Tucker was so unprofessional, and Jackie Chan was like genuinely frustrated with it. And you can kind of see that like love-hate relationship coming through in their performances as well. Just Chris Tucker being this kind of oblivious buffoon, and Jackie Chan just kind of putting up with him, right? Whereas like Jackie Chan and John Cena's relationship, maybe it's a little bit too professional, that you can feel like the distance between them, between their characters on screen. I don't know. Like maybe this Rush Hour was kind of lightning in a bottle. And like, I mean, I think like in the Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights movies as well, like Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson's chemistry is quite good. But I do feel like it's kind of a difficult relationship to replicate, that kind of genuine chemistry. And I'm not sure that Jackie and John have it to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
When they're speaking Mandarin together, I think it's more genuine. But yeah, it's still a bit awkward.
Yeah, actually, that's something that they could have played on a bit more, because that's something that like Jackie Chan used to cop a lot of shit in, like being the Chinaman in Rush Hour and in the Shanghai series. It's like his English is not very good, so maybe like the roles were a bit switched in this one. It's that like John Cena's Chinese is not great, and they kind of play on it a little bit, but then it's like they didn't really go anywhere with it. I think it's more the setting and the scenario probably didn't really allow for that much.
Yeah, why put him in Baghdad? Of all the places, why place this movie in Baghdad? Why not put it in China? You know?
that would have been interesting. But like it'd just be like, oh, it's just like Rush Hour, but John Cena is Jackie Chan and Jackie Chan is Chris Tucker or whatever.
Yeah, that's better. That's better than this movie.
I don't know. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it could have been. I think the setting of this movie is just pretty boring as well.
It's just a desert.
It's just a lot of sand.
Doesn't get much more boring than a desert.
And they don't have like the charm of like a Mad Max to pull off like the stunts. It's just like, because just shooting in a desert, it really like saves on like location. You just shoot anywhere you want.
There's a car chase in the climax of this movie, and it's just them driving down a straight road. You know what I mean? Like, Jackie Chan's having a bubble fight with a guy.
It's the highway of death.
Yeah, and John Cena's just driving down a straight road after another guy that's also driving down the straight road. So it's not very interesting stuff.
Yeah. I'd say go watch The Meg 2 of this movie. Yeah.
Like we said at the start of this episode, I think nothing we can say if you were going to watch this movie is going to stop you from watching this movie. So, I mean, like, I would be genuinely interested what people think of this movie. I think general consensus is that it's bad. But is it a good kind of bad? I think talking about this movie has made me like it less than when I was watching it.
I think I feel the same way. Like, it is easy to watch. Like, it's definitely like, if you are like, you know, doing exercise or something at the same time, and you need to have something in the background, this is the movie you can put on and you'll be all right. I
think it's a little bit disappointing that with a movie with these two guys, Jackie Chan and John Cena, like the overall movie is quite generic. Like, I'm looking at the poster right now. The title is Hidden Strike, which is a reference to something that happens in the movie at some point, and the tagline is "There is a plan."
It's quite a literal meaning.
Yes, which is kind of like what other Jackie Chan movies do as well. They just take one thing that happens in the movie and they make that the title. But the tagline is "There is a plan. They just don't know what it is," which could mean anything. And it's just trucks exploding in a desert. And John Cena and Jackie Chan looking stoic and pointing guns. I mean, it kind of lacks a bit of individualism, which is disappointing considering the two faces behind this movie. Yeah.
I mean, you have John Cena objectifying Jackie Chan's daughter as well in this movie. Like completely out of left field. It's like, I tapped that ass. I was like thinking about it. It's kind of funny because it's just so like it's so out of place.
Why would he think that Jackie Chan's character would be into that banter?
It's really like half-ass set up for like a potential romance between the leads that never happens. It's just like I tapped that ass because I'm American and like I'm a frat boy, right? So I feel like that's like China's image of like Americans. It's just like they just want to like objectify women all the time.
Yeah,
and like
they're not wrong, Tavi. They're not wrong.
I'm running out of things to say about this movie.
All right, let's call it here then.
Have you got anything left to say? Like,
no, I think just missed opportunity here. I think they could have done more with these combined charisma levels. And yeah, I mean, doesn't leave much room for a sequel either. So
I wouldn't
wasted
say
opportunity.
it's I wouldn't say it's the worst movie either. It's just pretty mid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a movie,
Like,
that's
yeah.
for sure.
it's a movie. Yeah.
But no, guys, what did you think of Hidden Strike if you've seen it? Did you think it was just a bit of fun, or did you feel like it was just a waste of time? Let us know. You can get in touch with us at twoasianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram at twoasianblokes or TikTok at twoasianblokes to see what we're up to.
Unless we're getting banned off TikTok again, right?
Yeah. I mean, does China own TikTok? They probably do, right?
TikTok was invented by China.
Well, there you go. We're definitely getting banned
so
after
we're
this
definitely
episode.
getting banned.
We ragged on 2 of their movies in this episode. we just learned how to apologize from John Cena, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, the king of yeah. But to bring our social credit back up, there are actually a number of really good Chinese movies that I've seen recently that I'm not going to say here, but I'm just going to say it because I want to visit China one day.
Okay, that helps. that helps, Tommy. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to that episode when and if it comes out. All right, guys. I think that's us, right?
That's us. All right. Take care of yourselves.
Okay.
And,
get that Bing chillin'.
In the words of John Cena, get that Bing chilling, tap that ass, as he says.
All right.
We can cancel left, right, and center. That's all right. See you guys.
Bye.